Hello and welcome to BYJU'S IAS. Let's take up the daily quiz for today. The first question. The Tiau River, often seen in news, forms a part of which international boundary? India-China, India-Bhutan, India-Myanmar or China-Myanmar? The correct answer is option C. The Tiau River is often being reported in news and it forms a part of the border between India and Myanmar. According to this article in The Hindu, refugees from Myanmar are crossing over the Tiau River, which forms a part of the boundary between India and Myanmar in the state of Mizoram. As the refugee crisis along the India-Myanmar border escalates, there is a lot of political pressure being built up on the state governments of Mizoram and Manipur by the Mizo ethnic group of Mizoram and the Kukis of Manipur, as they are closely related to the Chins on the other side of the border. The government of Mizoram has already taken an accommodative stance towards refugees from Myanmar, and it is also planning to include them under the Manrega scheme in order to make them self-sufficient. This is despite the hostile stand that has been taken by the government of India against the refugees of Myanmar. Recently, the Union Home Ministry had written to the border states asking them to identify the refugees and deport them back to Myanmar. But state governments such as Mizoram have taken a stand against it, as the lives of these refugees are at risk, and if deported back to Myanmar, they are most likely to be targeted. And on humanitarian grounds, state governments have taken it upon themselves to protect the refugees. Earlier, the Manipur government had issued a letter directing the local officials to not support or accommodate the refugees of Myanmar. But after protests from the local tribes, the Manipur government has retracted this letter, and on humanitarian considerations, the local administration has started helping out the refugees from Myanmar who are crossing over the Tiau River in order to enter India. See, in this map, you can find the Tiau River over here. It originates in the Champhai district of Mizoram, and it goes on to join the Chimtuipui River, or also known as the Kaladan River, which is a major transboundary river between India and Myanmar. The Kaladan River originates in Mizoram, and in India, it is known as the Chimtuipui. Later, it crosses over the border and flows into the Chin state of Myanmar. And the Tiau River, where the refugee crisis is being witnessed, is one of the tributaries of the Kaladan River. Now, the location of the Kaladan River is very important for your exams because along the Kaladan River, India and Myanmar have taken up a very important connectivity project known as the Kaladan Multimodal Transit Transport Project. As the name itself indicates, this project includes multiple modes of transportation, and it not only connects India with Myanmar, but also provides India with alternative access to the northeastern states. Now let's look at the second question. Which of the following statements are incorrect? The Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act of 2012, or also known as the POCSO Act, is a gender-neutral law. It is also unique because it places the burden of proof on the accused. Another hallmark of the Act is that it set up procedures to make the criminal justice system child-friendly and prevent re-traumatization. The correct answer is option D, none of the above, because all the three statements are correct. The POCSO Act is gender neutral, unlike the Indian Penal Code, because under POCSO, sexual offences against both boys and girls are considered as criminal offences, whereas the IPC doesn't do this, and it does not consider sexual offences against boys. Then POCSO is also unique from IPC because it places the burden of proof on the accused. That is, if someone is charged under the POCSO Act, then the burden lies upon the accused to prove that he is innocent. Generally, as per legal jurisprudence under the IPC, the mantra is that the accused is innocent until proven guilty, whereas under POCSO is the other way around. The accused is assumed to be guilty until proven innocent. Such a stringent provision has been added under POCSO in order to protect children from sexual offences and deliver stringent punishment to the accused. The other hallmark of the Act is that it provides for several procedures which makes the criminal justice system child-friendly throughout the process of filing complaints, recording statements, investigation, medical examination, and as well as through the legal proceedings. This question was taken up because according to this article in The Hindu, the Supreme Court is going to study if the POCSO Act can be used against minors. See, currently one of the problems under the POCSO Act is that even minor boys who are in a consensual sexual relationship with a minor girl can be charged and punished, and this is being seen as a miscarriage of justice. So to exclude such cases involving consensual sexual relations between two minors, and to not treat such relations as rape or sexual offences under POCSO Act, the Supreme Court is looking to evaluate the provisions. Now let's look at the third question. Agasthyamalai mountain range lies on the border between which two states? Karnataka and Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu and Kerala, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, Karnataka and Kerala. The correct answer is option B. The Agasthyamalai mountain range lies on the borders between Tamil Nadu and Kerala. As you can see in this map, the Agasthyamalai mountain range is a part of the Agasthyamalai Biosphere Reserve located on the borders between Kerala and Tamil Nadu, and it is one of the critical ecosystems of the Western Ghats. According to this article in the Hindu, a new species of butterfly has been discovered by Indian researchers in the Agasthyamalai ranges. The lime blue species of butterflies have been discovered, and these are usually found across India, Sri Lanka, Southeast Asia and Australia. This is the first time that a butterfly species has been discovered by an all-Indian research team from the Western Ghats. Now let's look at the fourth question. The Heart of Asia Conference related to Afghanistan is also known as Istanbul Process, Doha Dialogue, Kabul Process, Shangri-La Dialogue. The correct answer is option A. The Heart of Asia Conference is also referred to as the Istanbul Process. Now let's look at a related question. The Tapi gas pipeline passes through which of the following locations? Herat, Kandahar, Kabul, Quetta, Multan, Fazilka. See, amongst the given locations, the Tapi gas pipeline project does not pass through Kabul, but it passes through all the other given locations, and hence option B is the right answer. Now these two questions were taken up because of a related article in the Hindu. This article makes a reference to the 9th meeting of the Heart of Asia Istanbul Process that has started in Tajikistan with the support of the United States. See, the Heart of Asia Istanbul Process is focused on the Afghan civil war, and the term Heart of Asia refers to the central location of Afghanistan in the Asian continent. This is a peace process and a confidence-building measure that was initiated by the government of Turkey in 2011 in collaboration with the Afghan government. The focus of this conference or the Istanbul Process is to help resolve the Afghan conflict with the involvement of the neighboring countries and the regional powers in and around Afghanistan. So India has also been an active participant in the proceedings of the Heart of Asia Istanbul Process. And in fact, in 2016, India had hosted this meeting at Amritsar, and the countries even came out with the Amritsar Declaration to help find a solution to the Afghan civil war. Recently, with the initiative of the United States, the Heart of Asia Istanbul Process has resumed with the leadership of Turkey, and the latest meeting is being held in Tajikistan, and it involves the foreign ministers of 15 countries, which includes the key neighbors of Afghanistan and the key regional powers present in and around Afghanistan. Under this process, powers such as India, Pakistan, Turkey, Iran, China, Russia, Saudi Arabia, Central Asian countries are represented. During this meeting, India's foreign minister has extended support to the ongoing intra-Afghan talks between the Taliban and the Afghan government. This, in fact, is a rare direct reference being made by India to the Taliban, because otherwise, India has not engaged with the Taliban directly, and India continues to treat the Taliban as a terrorist outfit. But ever since the Doha dialogue between the US and the Taliban led to the signing of a peace deal, India has been slowly opening up to the Taliban, at least indirectly, if not directly. Last year, when the Doha talks took place regarding the peace deal, US had invited India for the first time, and India participated in this meeting virtually, where the Taliban leaders were also present. Now, during its participation in the Heart of Asia Istanbul Process, India has encouraged the Taliban and the Afghan government to engage in intra-Afghan talks and work out a political solution to resolve the conflict. During this interaction, Afghan President Ashraf Ghani has referred to the collaboration between India and Afghanistan, and he has highlighted how Indian investments in Afghanistan have improved connectivity with the country, thereby contributing to the development of Afghanistan's economy. He has thanked India for the establishment of a dedicated air corridor with Afghanistan that has enabled direct exports and imports between the two countries. He has also thanked India for its investments in the strategic Chabahar port project in Iran as a part of a trilateral connectivity agreement between India, Iran, and Afghanistan. And he has also made a reference to the ongoing Tapi gas pipeline project, which involves Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and India. See, the Tapi gas pipeline project seeks to connect Turkmenistan with India, and it aims to transport the natural gas from the Daulatabad gas field located in the Galkinish reserves of Turkmenistan. And from here, the pipeline transports natural gas to two important locations in Afghanistan, that is Herat and Kandahar. As you can see, Kabul is not a part of the project. From here, the Tapi pipeline transports the gas to Quetta and Multan in Pakistan and finally lands at Fazilka, which is a border town in India. Now let's look at the sixth question. The Václav Havel Human Rights Prize was established by the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe. Option C is the right answer. Please do not confuse the Council of Europe with the Council of European Union, which is one of the principal organs of the European Union. The Council of Europe is a separate international organization that was set up in 1949 following the Second World War. The Council of Europe has nothing to do with the European Union, and it includes 47 European countries as members, and its primary objective is to protect human rights and uphold democracy and rule of law in Europe. Under the Council of Europe, we have the European Court of Human Rights, which enforces the European Convention on Human Rights. This Council of Europe has a parliamentary wing known as the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe, and its main responsibility is to protect human rights and defend democracy and rule of law in Europe. So this organ of the Council of Europe has established a human rights award known as the Václav Havel Human Rights Prize to honor the former president of Czechoslovakia, who was also a prolific writer. This question has been asked because we have an article in the Hindu that makes a reference to the Václav Havel Human Rights Prize. Now let's look at the seventh question. Which of the following statements are correct? The New Development Bank is a multilateral development bank established by the BRICS states. It was established through the Fortaleza Declaration of 2014. China and Russia have the highest shareholding in the bank. Amongst the given statements, the third statement is incorrect. So option B is the right answer. See, the BRICS grouping involving Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa was formed to primarily challenge the Western-dominated global financial institutions such as World Bank and the IMF. These countries set up the NDB or the New Development Bank as a rival to the World Bank through the Fortaleza Declaration of 2014. From 2015, the NDB became operational and it is headquartered at Shanghai. To counter the IMF, a contingent reserve arrangement has also been set up by the BRICS countries. With regard to the World Bank and the IMF, the biggest concern for the BRICS countries was the unequal shareholding, which had led to the Western domination of these institutions. So while creating a parallel institution, the BRICS members ensured that the member countries had equal shareholding in the bank, and today the NDB is funding development projects in the BRICS countries, and India is also a major recipient of funding from the NDB. As you can see in this pie chart, the BRICS members have an equal shareholding at the New Development Bank. The NDB finds a mention in this article in the Hindu, and according to the article, India's finance minister has urged the NDB to consider working closely with India's new development financing institutions or DFIs for funding infrastructure projects in the country. Now let's look at a question from the 2018 prelims paper. Which one of the following is an artificial lake? Kodaikanal, Koleru, Nainital, Renuka. The correct answer is option A. The Kodaikanal lake in Tamil Nadu is an artificial man-made lake. Now coming to the fact of the day, let's look at this column in the Hindu, which makes a reference to the Prakash Singh case of 2006. This is a landmark case with regard to police reforms, because in the Prakash Singh case, the Supreme Court had laid down 7 directives that had to be followed by the state governments and the centre in order to initiate police reforms in the country. In the Prakash Singh case of 2006, the Supreme Court invoked its powers under Article 142 of the Constitution to issue orders to the executive, and it called for a radical overhaul of the Indian Police Act of 1861. The objective of the Supreme Court was to provide more immunity to the police forces in the country from interference, especially political interference from the executive and the politicians. The Supreme Court was looking to divest the act of its colonial hangover, which had led to the excessive politicization of our police forces. Criminalization of politics and the politicization of police are seen as the key factors contributing to police inefficiency and police misconduct in the country. Hence, to transform police governance, the Supreme Court came out with a set of police reforms in the Prakash Singh case, and it issued a set of 7 binding directives which were supposed to be implemented immediately by the state governments through a suitable law. But unfortunately, most state governments haven't followed the directions and have only provided for a partial implementation of these guidelines in the Supreme Court. So now, let's take a look at these 7 directives that were issued by the Supreme Court in the Prakash Singh case. The Supreme Court ordered the state governments to constitute a State Security Commission to ensure that state government does not exercise unwarranted influence or pressure on the police force. States were directed to ensure that the DGP is appointed through a merit-based transparent process with a minimum security of tenure of 2 years. And every police officer on operational duties were supposed to be given a minimum tenure of 2 years as well. The Supreme Court called upon the states to separate investigation from law and order in order to reduce the burden on the police forces and as well as to make them more efficient and accountable. It asked the state governments to set up a police establishment board to decide on transfers, postings, promotions, and other service-related matters. States were directed to set up a police complaints authority at the state and district level to inquire into any public complaints against police officers and police atrocities. Then finally, the central government was asked by the Supreme Court to set up the National Security Commission to prepare a panel of officers for selection and appointment as chiefs to the central police organizations. While the central government has implemented the last recommendation, the state governments have only provided for a partial implementation of these directives of the Supreme Court. So with this, let's conclude our discussion for today. Thanks for watching.